In today's video, I have some good but not so good news to share with you. Bitcoin is now back above $90,000, but the real reason you're here is to find out when we will finally have that glorious altcoin season. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. So as we can see here on the 4-hour time frame of the Bitcoin chart, the last time we had a correction was all the way down to the 85K mark, and we have since recovered very well. Now you can see that we are slowly grinding upwards back above the $90,000 mark. So if you're in Bitcoin, this is of course an amazing time for you. But what about altcoins? If we have a look at the alt season index, we can very clearly see that it is nowhere near altcoin season. And there's a couple of reasons for this. So you might be asking, okay, Bitcoin is at $90,000. Why is it that altcoins are not pumping as they normally should? I had a look and I found some quite interesting data to show you. So as we normally know, in these bull market cycles, usually Bitcoin will take the lead and explode past to all-time highs. Once Bitcoin consolidates, that's usually when Ethereum will start to pick up, and then afterwards, the rest of the altcoin market will follow. It's very clear that Ethereum usually sets the tone for the rest of the altcoin market. But unfortunately, we can see that Ethereum on its Bitcoin pair has just put in new cycle lows at 0.034. It seemed like we were going to pump here and perhaps move to the upside, and it would be time for alts to follow. But in this following week, we came right back down. Now, what does this mean for altcoins? Without Ethereum going up on its Bitcoin pair, it shows weakness to the rest of the altcoin market, and it doesn't actually allow altcoins to sustainably follow in an uptrend. If we take a look at Bitcoin dominance, again, we just keep on printing higher. And I know some of you that have watched my previous videos might be getting annoyed about me harping on about Bitcoin dominance. But the reality is, until we actually break down, as we saw in 2021, we will not have that altcoin season that we're looking for. Bitcoin dominance is looking more bullish than ever, and that is a very worrying sign for altcoins. Part of it, of course, is because of Ethereum Bitcoin continuing to make new low after new low after new low. But I did find an extremely interesting data point that will suggest when Ethereum Bitcoin can turn around and when altcoins will finally follow. One thing I should mention is, of course, there's always going to be a few altcoins that outperform the rest of the market. These can be new token launches, meme coins, different things like that. But when I talk about a true altcoin season, I'm talking about when even the shittiest of coins start pumping like crazy. That is what I consider an altcoin season. Bitcoin dominance crashes, alts start to explode against Bitcoin and on their US pair. So this is the interesting metric that I found that will ultimately help us determine when altcoin season can actually happen. We can see here that I have the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation on this chart, but this line right here, this red line, represents the Fed's balance sheet. Now, when the Fed is in QT, which means quantitative tightening, they are essentially reducing their balance sheet. Now, in simple terms, this just means that the Federal Reserve is removing money from financial markets to stem the dangers posed by an overheating economy. So with inflation, we very much had an overheating economy. And since then, to get inflation under control, they go into quantitative tightening. Now, if we look at this Ethereum Bitcoin chart, when there's quantitative tightening, so as you can see, the Fed's balance sheet is going down, Ethereum Bitcoin bleeds and goes lower and lower and lower and lower. Then we have quantitative easing. What this means is basically when the government starts printing money, for example. And when there is more money in the economy, this helps stimulate growth for assets such as Ethereum and also the rest of our risky altcoins. Because Bitcoin is considered the blue chip of this industry, it can in fact go up under both conditions, quantitative tightening and quantitative easing. As the Fed started QE in September 2019, the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation started to absolutely explode. And this is what altcoins are looking for to be able to finally explode to the upside against their Bitcoin pairs and again on their USD pairs. You'll hear me mention that a lot, but I think it's very important that you measure your altcoins against Bitcoin because they are always more risky than Bitcoin. And so if your altcoins are performing extremely well in terms of US dollars, but Bitcoin is performing even better, that tells you that you should have just been holding Bitcoin because Bitcoin is inherently less risky. And so you get higher risk-adjusted returns. And so you might ask, okay, why is Ethereum on its Bitcoin pair currently crashing? Well, we can see here that ever since this peak, the Federal Reserve went back into quantitative tightening to constrict the economy. And so there is less money to speculate on risky assets such as Ethereum, and most importantly, all of the riskier assets in the crypto market. Again, we are making new low after new low after new low. I would look at the next area of support here on this chart around the 0.3 mark, as this was a nice pivot area around March of 2021. So it is still possible that Ethereum continues to bleed against its Bitcoin pair, and this could very well be the low. Now, if Ethereum ends up in 2025 springboarding off of this low to make new highs on its ETH Bitcoin pair, this will be excellent for our altcoins because, as I mentioned, Ethereum determines the rest of the altcoin market. This is something else that I wanted to bring up that I thought was a little funny. You guys might know Crypto Don Alt on Twitter, but based on the sentiment that I've been seeing on Twitter, most of crypto Twitter doesn't actually own Bitcoin. Everyone is knee deep into altcoins. And that's fair because you can indeed make more returns on your altcoins, but you need the correct market conditions. And right now, the market conditions are not favorable for altcoins. Just as a note, so crypto Twitter feels way less enthusiastic about Bitcoin all-time high breakout this cycle compared to the last. And it seems like everyone's depressed and almost doesn't care. So this kind of sentiment does tell me that most people are just holding alts and not much Bitcoin. In the meantime, we can see that Bitcoin just continues to rip higher. And the higher that Bitcoin goes, of course, it can drag altcoins up with it. But if Bitcoin corrects even in the slightest, let's say we, for example, revisit the 85K mark, altcoins will completely collapse because we are not under favorable market conditions for them to perform well. Now, I don't want to put it down on everyone here because I myself am looking to expand into altcoins in the coming months. But it's very important that you understand the relationship between monetary policy and how it can affect really risky assets like altcoins. That being said, there is gold at the end of the rainbow, and I do have some very good news to share with you guys. Yesterday, Gary Gensler came out with a statement that could suggest that he leaves his role with the SEC. We can see that in his statement, he's thanking the SEC staff, but in his conclusion, he also talks about his parents and how he's proud to have served the SEC. If that's not someone telling you that they're resigning, I don't know what is. And after this statement, some breaking news came out saying that 18 US states were going to sue the SEC, alleging unconstitutional overreach and unfair persecution of the crypto industry under Gary Gensler. What does this mean? Well, we know that Gary Gensler had a stronghold on the crypto market, in particular, his view on altcoins and deeming them securities. So with this guy out of the SEC, this could create an extremely bullish 2025 for altcoins. Hopefully, it also provides some more regulatory clarity, but for the most part, this is extremely bullish for alts. And I'm honestly not sure why more people aren't talking about this because this could set us up for one of the craziest alt seasons we've ever seen. Following this news, we can even see that XRP started to pump like crazy. Now, I'm personally not someone that believes in XRP as some of the other thought leaders in the space do. I kind of consider it a dinosaur coin. I don't think you get the best risk-adjusted returns if you hold XRP. No hate to any XRP holders, but it's crazy to see that it got this kind of reaction right after we hear that Gary Gensler could potentially be leaving. And so I'll make sure to keep you updated once he officially leaves. Okay, so in the short term, we can see that Bitcoin is now hovering around the 90K mark, but our altcoins still aren't following. Once we get quantitative easing, meaning the government starts printing more money, and this could very well be towards the end of this year, it is very likely that our altcoins will start to perform very well, and we will finally have an altcoin season. But not just any altcoin season, because with the news of Gary Gensler potentially leaving the SEC and the Trump administration in place, it could be leading us up to the most explosive altcoin season in crypto history. So please pay attention to this because it's going to be a wild ride. In one of my next videos, I will be sharing with you the ultimate strategy to identify the best possible altcoins in this market. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell because you won't want to miss it. Thanks everyone. Till next time.